Hey guys, I want to talk to you about emotional repression and how that plays such a huge role in our energy that we experience throughout our day-to-day life. How much emotional repression contributes to chronic fatigue and exhaustion and stress and anxiety. I've actually just come out of a self-facilitated session, and it is amazing just to notice how much energy actually goes into keeping this down, whatever that thing is that we don't want to feel. And it can be a number of things. It can be fear. We don't want to feel fear. I mean, it doesn't feel good, right? And we're also conditioned to not believe in fear, maybe through spirituality. It's not real. Or we've been laughed at in the past for having shown fear. Like it was dismissed, and so we dismiss it within ourselves. It's just conditioning. But yeah, the impact this repression to keep things down has on our life force, because we're investing all of our life force into this programming, into this shutting down, into this, it's like being like this all the time rather than like this, and showing and allowing and expressing and feeling what we're feeling. We see this a lot in spiritual communities or people on the spiritual path, where, for example, anger is an absolute no-no. And that was me for a very, very long time. I was actually so repressed that I thought I had no anger. I remember I had a therapist in a center here in Thailand, a recovery center, and she was working with the Enneagram. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but one of the traits that for me, I'm the type 9, the peacemaker, was that the theme is the anger. And I said to her, well, I can't be a 9 because I don't have any anger. I was even so conditioned to believe that I had done so much spiritual work in past lives or whatever it was, that I was beyond anger. I was that, I wouldn't say enlightened, but I was that wise and old and grown. And it was just complete bullshit. I mean, the things we tell ourselves, and we don't even know about it. Like, it's so innocent. It hides so well. And it's such an innocent mechanism to just keep us safe. Because at some point in our life, we have learned that showing and expressing anger, or even feeling it, is not safe. Mostly through our childhood. But it can happen anytime. And for me, the spiritual message was just a perfect place to hide in this peacefulness. But especially anger, but also fear, sadness, grief, hurt, whatever it is our life force. It is an energy. That's all it is. And energy is here to move. That's just its natural state. And when we stop that from happening, when we block that, when we block our emotions, emotion, there's motion. Motion needs to move. When we block that, we're actually blocking our life force and our creativity. And yeah, once we see that, it's a complete game changer, because we may not be willing anymore to buy into the stories that keep us safe. And it may be the push that we need to go into the repression work, trauma and repression work, whichever way that may be for you. Because it's not pleasant in some ways, and in other ways it's the most magical experience there is, to be so truly and deeply connected and in tune with what you're feeling, and having the freedom to share that to everyone. Like no hiding. And so I would like to invite you to maybe reflect on your life and where you're at right now, and see if there's any emotion that you show a lot more than others. Maybe you are very easily prone to react aggressively, and like anger comes up a lot. But it may be more vulnerable for you to then actually say that you're hurt, or that you're sad, to cry in front of people, or to show the fear that is maybe hiding behind it. Or the other way around, if you're more like me, it's very easy to go into the hurt mode, into the sadness, into the kind of more vulnerable emotions. Although for me anger is very vulnerable, because that's what I'm scared of. But to just show the more sensitive side may be easier, because it's more acceptable. It has given you love and feels safer in the past. But there's absolutely no way you would yell at other people, or you would show aggressiveness or pushiness or even self-confidence and saying yes and no to what you want and what you don't want. If anything of this rings true to you, then there may be repression running your life, and therefore running your life force, your energy. And I will be talking about this a lot more, and share the path that I've been on, and what's worked for me and what hasn't. And yeah, just see what feels true for you. Sending you much love.